You just sold your house and you want your money, and I don't blame you. Let's talk about at what stage is the money released when you sell a house. So, let me repeat that. What stage is the money released to a house seller or to a seller, right? So, somebody who sells a home, when do they get their money? It's pretty obvious and easy. The reality is you get it after closing, right? So everybody signed the paperwork and it's done. And then the title company will then release the money. Let me give you an example of how it works in Texas. And there's some states, they're different than Texas, where you might sign in advance and then the funding doesn't happen until later. So just ask when you guys go in there, if you're selling your property, just ask, when do you expect to get the money? And here's kind of the normal answer. So in Texas, the way we do it here is funding happens the same day, 98% of the time. I mean, it's not every time because maybe there's exceptions or weird things that go on, but the vast majority of the time, the buyer and the seller go in. Let's say the buyer goes in at 10 o'clock and signs their paperwork and they're out of there by 11. Let's say the seller goes in at 12 and signs their part and they're out of there by 12:15. Don't have a lot of paperwork. Now what's going to happen is once all parties have signed, the title company is going to go hustle up. They're going to get the important documents that are needed to show that, all important stuff's been done. They don't send every piece of paper, not right away at least, but they get all the important ones and they send it to the lender to say, hey, here's proof that everything got signed. The lender, the closer, funder, whoever it is on the lender side, gets that email and looks through and says, yeah, everything's signed. Good for you guys. Congratulations. And then they push the magic button that releases the money over to the title company. So once that money is then released and the title company gets access from the lender side, from the mortgage mark side here, we're like, cool, we funded, right? That's our word, is we funded. Well, it just means that we have given money to the title company, so we are done. We're out of this process. Now, the title company is, they're there for a reason, or the attorney's office, depending on your state. They're there to do they're the intermediary doing their fiduciary responsibility, sending money to all the different places, including the seller. So however long it takes for the money to get over to title and then for title to get the money to the seller, that's all it takes. So in theory, if everybody's like, oh my gosh, we got to get this done and we got to get focused, it could be 30 minutes after closing, it could be an hour, right? But the reality is the title company and even the closer at the lending office, they have a bunch of other files going on. This isn't their only loan for the day. And so, or maybe that's during the lunch break or something's going on. So it can take a few hours afterwards, but it's the same day. Typically get here in Texas. If you sign, you're going to close, it's going to be that day. A lot of wire cutoffs, again, depends on the bank and where you are. But the reality is wire cutoffs start around 2 o'clock-ish. Some goes later, like 3:30-ish, give or take. So if you're closing mid-afternoon and you're the seller, the wire may be sent out, but you may not get your money till the next day. So it's just really important to talk to the title company in advance, because if you need that money to close on your next purchase, then I recommend trying to close earlier in the morning, get it so that we don't have to worry about wire cutoffs and get all that done. So that, I think, hopefully answers your question. So what stage is the money released to a house seller? It's at the end when everything's signed and done and the money's ready to be sent. It could take a few business hours. It could just take, 30 minutes. Who knows? So just ask the title company or the attorney's office, ask your lender. We will certainly answer, we'll tell you what we do and how we do it. But if you have questions or need some help, call the Mortgage Mark team. We are here to field all questions and just make sure, even if we're not doing the loan, happy to take good care of you. And remember, as always, when you think mortgage, think Mark.